Okay, what's up? So today I'm going to be talking about another drug combination that I've done. And the only really reason I talk about drug combinations and substances on my YouTube channel is because I just find it so funny to look back at all the stupid things I've done. Now, I've done a lot of drugs in my time. Variety of things from disgusting drugs such as methadone, mephedrone, to beautiful, clean, natural drugs like DMT and acid and magic mushrooms. Now, today I'm going to be talking about a combination I did, which involved 25 milligrams of 2CB, which is quite a very strong dose, and 400 milligrams of MDMA mixed with MDA. And MDMA is pretty much the exact same as MDMA, except it's a bit less stimulant and it's sort of more visual. It's not really as well known. So yeah, I'm just going to go through what happened. You might have seen my other recent video about the worst drug combination ever. Now this was actually very pleasant and very enjoyable. So yeah, basically what happened is, me and my mate, we decided we wanted to trip. So we went to our 2CB dealer, who was actually a good friend of ours. Not really at the time, we don't really speak anymore. But yeah, at the time we were like proper good friends. I mean, we sometimes do speak still, but not that often. But anyway, that's beside the point. So what happened is that yeah, so we picked up. We started off just with two pills, so one pill each. We met a dealer. We dropped this pill at probably about 3 o'clock. And 2CB. It was actually 2CB Fly, which is stronger than 2CB. 2CB and 2CB Fly. They both, out of all the drugs I've tried, they take an unbelievable amount of time to kick in and actually for you to feel the effects. So yeah, it was probably nearly 2 hours until we actually felt anything really, and I was actually starting to think that these pills aren't doing very much. They were the orange 2CB Fly pills. They were 10 milligrams each. So yeah, me and my mate went to my dealer. My dealer went off somewhere, and he actually comes back later in the night. We'll get to that. But so yeah, me and my mate go back to my mate's house. And I'm sat there, we're just chilling. I think we watched like football or something. I don't even like football. We just put it on, waiting for literally ages. Like, we smoked a joint, nothing was happening. Obviously we were high, but like nothing was happening from the 2CB. About an hour and a half in, I turned to my mate. I was like, "Do you think these pills are even going to do anything?" So then, we were waiting for a bit longer. Probably about, yeah, I'd say it was just under 2 hours, because I think it takes about 75 minutes for it to kick in. But I don't know, everyone's different, and it took a little bit longer than that. It's probably about an hour and 40 minutes. Then everything just started going very slow. My mate's light was sort of dimming. It wasn't changing colour, but it was changing contrast. And no offence to him, but he doesn't really have much decoration in his lounge. He had like a very nice dark rug though, like a black rug. And yeah, I sort of started to feel like I was on acid, because obviously 2CB is a mixture. Is a mixture of filling of MDMA and LSD supposedly. So I did start to feel the 2CB, and I was like, here it is. It's starting to kick in. So yeah, the outside of my vision, like around my whole vision, like the circular, your eyes are like a circle. Around all of it, like things started to wave and breathe. His dog, which is like this mini chihuahua, just looked really funny. I just wanted to keep stroking it. And then I was like, yeah, these are actually pretty good. Like, it's starting to kick in. So we were having a good time laughing. We were like looking out his window, watching people just walk past and trying to, get as many visuals as we could. And then we were like, fuck, this is pretty sick. So we chilled at his for a bit more. And then things just started getting more and more heavy. His fridge was like, I looked at his fridge and it just started extending. I looked up at it and I felt like 2 foot tall, and it looked like his fridge in his kitchen was like 100 foot tall. Usually when I do psychedelics I can't eat much, but the 2CB was actually alright. I managed to eat like this rice or something. It didn't sober me up, luckily, I don't think, anyway. So yeah, we were having a great time, and we were just laughing, listening to some grime, which is like British rap, basically, and it's not really my thing, especially on psychedelics, but we were just having a laugh. We smoked quite a bit of weed, about 2 grams of weed. Yeah, so we were just having a laugh, really, and then things just started to get heavy, and psychedelics, I think, are better at night time when it's dark, because you can sort of like, the visuals stand out more when it's dark, sort of thing. I mean, it's great to do acid or whatever when it's sunny during the summer, but I prefer psychedelics at night overall. So yeah, we were enjoying it, and we were like, yeah, this is sick. we were just laughing constantly. Yeah, 2CB, like, I mean, any drug in a sense can get dark, but, you know, compared to hard psychedelics such as acid and magic mushrooms, 2CB is like quite a soft one. You know, you get that sort of watercolor effect. You a lot of the time you feel like you're in the 1970s. And yeah, we were just having a really good time. Things started, like, surfaces and stuff started to look really sharp, stuff like that, and colourful. Colours started to change. But yeah, with 2CB, for me anyway, you just don't really get the full-on sort of fractals and stuff like acid. Now, yeah, it was probably about 7 o'clock and we were having a great time, and then we actually decided to call my dealer and get another 2 pills. I'm not actually sure how many pills my mate did. I think he might have done 2. I did 2.5. So we dropped another pill. Yeah, you know, and then that's when our dealer decided to join us on the fun. We stayed at my mate's house for a little bit, walked around the woods, and then I don't know. It was probably because I already dropped the first pill. The second 2CB pill kicked in quite a lot quicker than the first one. I think it only took about an hour, and this is when things started to get heavy. Like we could barely speak, but like we were just loving life. We were just loving what was going on. We walked through this graveyard, and I don't know. It felt really sinister, but I wasn't like on edge or anything at the same time. So yeah, this graveyard just looked nuts. For some reason I sat down on this bench and I was like picking the grass. I was lost in a way. And you know, I was sort of getting the body effects as well, like a nice little buzz from the sort of MDMA side of the feel of it. And then yeah, we were just more and more sort of like tripping gradually. But as I said, like before, 2CB is very mellow compared to acid and like mushrooms and stuff like that. So yeah, and then we just looked at each other, and then I was like, oh, you know, I think we should get some MDMA. And so we went and picked up 0.8 of MDMA, which I know in America people they usually buy it in capsules or like in 100 mg capsules, or just take ecstasy pills. And I've never taken ecstasy pills, and I never will, because I just disagree with it. You know, you can never generally know what you're buying. Same as crystal, but it's most likely to be a bit more pure. So yeah, we went to this guy who we're also friends with. He didn't really have the time to like hang out or anything, but we picked up 800 milligrams of what we thought was just MDMA. But we didn't even realise until we got to my house, and he texted me. And he texted my mate saying that there's actually MDA inside that bag as well. So we were doing a mixture of 800 milligrams of MDMA and MDA. And luckily for me, whenever I do MDMA, I always seem to get extremely strong visuals, especially when I'm coming down. And I don't know, I think it may be just how my brain chemistry is wired. Now, this is when things started to get really heavy, because basically, I got my friend that I was doing it with, who was also on 2 pills. I was on 2 pills at this time. So we were both, you know, quite heavily tripping, but as I said, it was a mellow trip as well, because it's not like a really hard psychedelic. He went to go and pick up this MDMA bag off this guy. I walked home on my own, while my other 2 friends were like, went to this guy quick. And they met me back at my house, and as I walked home, I actually bumped into this person I know. And he was just laughing at me hysterically because of the way I was walking. Like, I was so fucked. And I sort of like put my back around this metal gate, and like I didn't respond to him, but he was laughing. I think he recorded me, and I was sort of just moving around really slowly this metal gate, and I had to walk through this communal sports area to get back to my house. And he was just like, what are you doing? Laughing loads and shit, but that's really beside the point. So I got home, and this was when I lived with my mum, and her house is very sort of like vintage, and there's a lot of decorations, like sort of ornaments, and very like old-fashioned. So it sort of went well with the trippiness. Things were waving. It felt really weird actually being in my house on 2CB. So yeah, I waited for my mate to get back. As soon as he got back, we both bombed a fat dose each of MDMA. I think we put about 250. I think we both bombed about 200 milligrams each in one. We wrapped it up in a bit of a rolling paper and just swallowed it. And then the MDMA kicked in, and this is just when it got really hectic. Like, everything just slowed down. I mean, I know when you're on MDMA, the time actually speeds up, but it was sort of reversed because of the 2CB. So everything slowed down. Everything was just really, like, pretty much from the moment we did the MDMA and it kicked in. Everything just sort of slowed down. It was very silent and quiet. And literally everything in my house was breathing and waving so heavily. The colour contrast was crazy. I looked at myself in the mirror at one point, and both my eyes conjoined together. And my face literally just changed to something completely different. Then we went upstairs and sat in my room and smoked some weed. We hotboxed it, and this was always the thing I'll remember the most. I have a black wallpaper in my old house with like silver squiggly lines, and I think it was after I sniffed the first line of MDMA. So bearing in mind I did 2CB pills. I just dropped a fat bomb of MDMA probably about an hour ago, and we were sat upstairs, and then I sniffed another quite a fat line. Pretty fat line to be fair, probably about 0.35, and then like we had another tiny one each not long after. So yeah, both of us did about half the bag, so we did about 400 milligrams each of MDMA/MDA, and I'll never forget my wallpaper. It literally separated itself into 3 different segments, like 3 different walls, and they were like interconnected with each other, but they were separate, and they were moving at such slow speeds. It was actually ridiculous, and then it sort of sped up, and it was just like this whirlwind of shapes, and I was staring at it, and the visuals were so heavy. It was heavier than some things I've experienced on acid, to be fair. And I just looked at my mate, and his jaw was literally going up and down from the MD, and we were just sat there absolutely fucking wrecked, like. And that was when I think I dropped the other half 2CB pill about 12 at night, and literally we went all until the morning, like all of us. And we just had a mad time. I felt like absolute shit in the morning, because MDMA is probably the worst drug when it comes to come downs. It just makes you feel like absolute shit. But I would highly recommend this substance. But if you are going to take substances, you just have to be careful, and you need to know what you're taking. You know, these 2CB fly pills, they were lovely. They just took a while to kick in, and mixing it with MDMA is actually magical. I've mixed many substances. I've mixed 2CB and LSD, which is crazy. I've candy flipped once. I've never done it magic mushrooms with anything else. I would highly recommend mixing 2CB and MDMA. It is such a nice, fuzzy, psychedelic feeling, and it's sort of like, I don't know. I just really can't explain it. You literally just feel on top of the world. You feel like a fucking spaceman. It's crazy. We went outside and the stars just looked nuts. They were like interlocking. They were expanding, glowing, getting darker. It was just absolutely crazy. I could see the trails from the smoke coming out the back of the plane as if I was sort of up in the air. It was just so zoomed in. Everything was just nuts. Yeah, and we had a great time. And then my mate, I think he fell asleep on my sofa like very early in the morning, and it was just crazy. Like, I did feel a little bit shit because they both left, and I was kind of really like on edge, and I felt like I wanted, to be around people. So I went out very early in the morning, and sort of kept myself occupied. But I'd highly recommend, if you are going to take drugs, to just be careful with it. Don't go overboard. But yeah, so I took 25 milligrams of 2CB and about 400 milligrams of MDMA mixed with MDA, and just the whole thing was amazing. There wasn't really one bad part about it. The whole trip was just absolutely batshit crazy. I'd seriously recommend this dose. The visuals, especially when I was in my room, were absolutely crazy. I think the sort of like, because I did 3 separate 2CB pills, well, 2.5, I think it's sort of like I was peaking on at least one of those pills at the same time I was peaking on the MDMA, and it just made it crazy. The visuals were unbelievable. Like, I've dropped 400 micrograms of acid, and I've smoked DMT while peaking on acid, and some of these visuals, like, they're not far off that. They're different because they sort of interact with what's in your real world, and acid and DMT, like, when you shut your eyes, they're sort of different visuals. But like, the 2CB and MDMA just took what was there in front of my eyes when they were open, and it completely changed it. It was absolutely fucking crazy. I'd seriously recommend that combination, 2CB and MDMA. That's all I can say, really. Just be safe.